The American Chamber of Commerce says U.S. firms remain committed to Singapore, viewing it as a strategic gateway to the rest of the region. But as operating costs continue to rise, the Chamber is calling for more initiatives to be cost-effective. It says artificial intelligence is also becoming a key factor in business decisions, reshaping how companies invest, hire and develop their workforce. CNA's Nadirah Zaidi speaks to the CEO of AmCham to find out more.
Despite the ongoing uncertainty and volatility, Singapore companies remain keen to expand into the US. The Singapore Business Federation says the number of SMEs looking to explore the market, as well as those that have successfully expanded there, has gone up by around 10 to 15% each year. States like New York, Arizona and Texas are becoming increasingly attractive. In fact, Singapore just recently opened a new office in Texas to support businesses looking to enter the market. Much of that interest is driven by the AI boom. But AI is also reshaping the way American companies here operate.
AI has made people think about productivity and efficiency and where should people sit. The other one is around hybrid working and remote working. That's also impacted how companies want to operate from a human capital perspective. How many people do they want to put in Singapore? How many people will they move to other locations? That's where the investment, quantum changes and the distribution of investment changes.
One analyst says beyond manpower issues, the uncertainties around AI is a large risk for firms.
You could see one world where AI remains as it is today, available and affordable. You could see AI also under a different scenario where it becomes much more expensive and becomes limited. And that could be because of a political backlash and that governments need to do something because too many of their citizens are losing jobs or that inequality is increasing. You have sovereign risk on AI. Are countries going to not allow AI to be used outside of their borders? That could be a large risk.
The American Chamber of Commerce says businesses remain committed to Singapore even as they navigate a range of challenges, from manpower costs to skills mismatch.
I think the cost of doing business has been quite challenging in some ways. Even though talent is very strong here, they do command a higher salary, which means that some jobs are going overseas to other countries. So the Singapore commitment is here. I think that there's some work to do to make sure that it is cost effective and efficient and productive to continue to bring your company to Singapore and think about Singapore also as a gateway to the rest of the region.
I'm also hearing a lot of companies just moving outside of Singapore. Is this something that have been brought up by your members as well, like because of rising costs of doing business here in Singapore? Is it something that they're considering?
This is not an observation that we have made. Singapore still is a very attractive place for a lot of other reasons. The innovation support, the idea that you can easily travel to other parts of the region. Regional headquarters mainly prefer to stay in Singapore also because from a senior leadership perspective, they want to live in Singapore. So you do have to do that balance of cost and benefit. Even if we know that the cost of living here is higher, there are benefits that outweigh that cost. And for many of the member companies, while they are cost conscious, it is still worthwhile for them to stay in Singapore and use this as a regional hub for their headquarters.
Others agree that the advantages go beyond cost.
Singapore competes on certainty. It doesn't compete on cheap, okay? It doesn't compete on cost. It competes on its strengths. What does Singapore have that a lot of countries that it competes with does not have? Rule of law, enforceable contracts, no corruption. You have infrastructure that works, right? Those things are not cheap. Those are expensive. And so you pay for that. And that is why Singapore is never going to win on being the low cost alternative.
It would be far easier to do business across borders if we had some way to predict the regulations that surround certain industries. We've had other situations where we've had trade agreements that either worked or didn't work, conversations about which countries that businesses should be setting up in, how do they prioritize. Overall, our member companies are telling us they are here in Singapore, they believe in the region, they will continue to invest. The question is, are they going to invest as much as they thought they would a few years back?
The American Chamber of Commerce is urging companies to take a long-term view of investments in this region, saying its growth prospects and young population make it an attractive market. But companies should also be strategic about where they allocate talent.